Welcome to the Prophecy Club, and I've got a good friend, Bree Keyton, on the phone with me today. Back in 2008, God spoke to her audibly and said, go save the Pygmies. So this fair-skinned, blonde woman went to the deepest, darkest, most dangerous parts of the Congo jungle and found the Pygmies. She found that they were being eaten by the rebels as food. She's about to tell you an update on some of the amazing stories about how God's supernatural protection and provision has allowed these souls to be won. Now, about Bree, she has prayer walked 36 countries, 5 continents, rescued 47,000 pygmies, and led them to Jesus. She is also the author of 8 books, 8 DVDs, made a musical CD which had national airplay. She also holds 2 doctorates, and she's made 8 different DVDs with the Prophecy Club. So, Bree, welcome back to the Prophecy Club.
Great to be here, Stan.
Okay, so tell us all about what happened in the Congo this time.
Well, we had a very exciting trip. I got calls from my team over there that are on the ground. Oh, don't come. The rebels are taking all the border towns again. And I said, well, we have to come. We really are led of the Lord to come. They said, well, the Pygmies are in really bad shape over here. We're glad you're coming, but it is going to be a dangerous trip. I said, so what else is new, guys? This is the way it always is. So, okay. So we showed up over there. We went over to try to get in on the border, and the rebels had moved in to just a few miles outside the town. So my team was all very nervous, and finally we got a hotel room in this little border town, and we were waiting for the airplane next morning so we could fly internally in the country to our destination. And it was very difficult, but we did get out, and we got to our target area where, many thousands of pygmies are waiting for us. So when we got there, we had a very successful mission. We rescued 8,336 pygmies. That's a lot of pygmies on this trip. And there were a few tragedies. Some of them set fire accidentally to their little huts. And they build these little temporary stick things that, then they want to build a fire inside, and it catches fire, and then people get burned. So we told them all to quit setting fires in there, and a little boy died, and another little boy was seriously injured. So we went in and prayed for him and helped his family and so on. But overall, just a marvelous mission. These are just lovely, lovely pygmies in this particular area who are terribly persecuted, and the rebels are eating the pygmies, and we've been in desperate situation.
Okay, tell us about these rebels. Who are these rebels that are eating the pygmies?
Well, they're actually trained by Joseph Kony, who's a world terrorist. I mean, his name is known everywhere. But these guys operate independently now because Kony has been, he's been pursued for several years. People are trying to catch him, so he's in hiding. But the guys he trained in the Congo are the ones, and descendants of ones as well, who murdered 1 million Tutsis in 100 days in Rwanda. So they are vicious, murdering terrorists. And their main food source, the ones that are deep in the jungle mining for blood diamonds and blood gold, those ones eat the pygmies. And the particular pygmies we were trying to rescue, some of them were being held in pens like cattle, so that the rebels could easily pick them off and eat them at their leisure. So it wasn't like they even had to hunt them now. They were just holding them and guarding them. So this is a horrifying thing to most people to think that...
So they're treating the pygmies like we treat cattle. We just keep them pinned up until we're ready to eat them.
Yeah, so, essentially that's what was going on in this swampy area where we just came from. But when it came time to leave... And by the way, the roads to get there were among the worst I've ever seen in any country anywhere. You cross a bridge and it's just a bunch of random logs thrown in odd conformations and just very odd. I was supposed to drive heavy trucks over that. It was just like, oh my gosh, we had to pray every second. Some of these little roads were hanging off cliffs with steep rocks everywhere. I was not in despair, but there were moments when I thought, I don't see how we're going to even go forward to get to the Pygmies. So it was something. But finally we got them all, 8,336 Pygmies know Jesus now, and they love him, and they're going to serve him, and we've bought land. Now we have to go back and, raise some money, go back and start building villages now.
Okay.
They won't stay
how do you
unless
talk?
they have houses.
How do you talk to 8,000 Pygmies? Was this done all at once, or several different tribes, several different times? I mean, if there's more than 100 people, we need a microphone here in America. How do you do this?
Well, we were there, several weeks, and so it helps because once we go to one group, then we can go back, buy more supplies, go to the next group. So we actually usually just target 3 groups when we go to an area, and then we build 3 villages.
How many people per
and
group?
Then, other Pygmies can come in later to the villages, but usually just 3 groups.
How many people to the group?
It can vary everywhere from 200 Pygmies in a tribe all the way up to we've seen 4,000 in a tribe. So in this case, it just varied. There were around close to 3,000 per tribe.
Okay,
this
now
time.
I know before your first time you would ask them to all sit down, and then you would give them the gospel, and they all accepted, 100% of them. Tell us a story what happened this time with these new Pygmies.
Well, these Pygmies were very, very happy. They were not afraid of us. Some Pygmies have a lot of fear, and rightfully so. I mean, they've been hunted their whole lives. They don't know anything different. But these Pygmies were very peaceful, and we did what we always do. We put up a perimeter rope, and I just stood in front of the perimeter rope, maybe 10 feet back. Then I'd stand up on a big bale of clothes to get some elevation there so they could all see me. And I began to tell them the story of why I'm there and who Jesus is, and in the end I give that altar call. But this time they were so excited, and it's funny. This is funny, Stan. The chiefs, because I did some chief interviews after they're all saved and we're distributing goods. I take them aside and interview them, and there were 2 different chiefs that said, "We were so impressed to see a woman up there preaching. We knew how much you loved us just by the way you were looking at us, and we could feel that love, but we were impressed that you were a woman." So that's the first time anybody's ever said that to me. I was a little bit taken aback by it because I never think about gender. It just doesn't occur to me.
Well, what about
a mission from God? You just don't think like that.
Well, Bree, what about the fact that you're white and you have blonde hair? Do you get any comments on that?
That didn't seem to rock their world as much as the fact that I was a woman. Isn't that funny? They're not there going, "You're white and you're so weird and we've never seen this." No, they were going, "You're a woman. We can't believe it."
Okay, so what did you give them? The clothes and the food and the sheddies and all that? What would you give them?
All the usual stuff. All you said, plus salt, soccer balls, bed rolls. I mean, we gave them lots and lots of stuff. And it was one of the most expensive missions I've ever been on. But I'm very, very happy. Plus, we bought land, so there were some expenses there. Then came the moment we were trying to leave. We were trying to go. And we had bought plane tickets. I mean, an airport there is like this lean-to, and everybody has goats and pigs and chickens. The landing strip is just dirt. So on a rainy day, the dirt becomes mud and it just churns up. But there we were. 5 days we were actually hostages. We could not get free. We could not get out. And so early in the morning we would sneak out with our luggage and run to the airport and hope a plane would come. Now this happened 5 times. On the 5th morning, my son looked up. He said, "I saw a glint in the sky." And then my interpreter, "I see it." And so I looked up and I said, "I don't see anything." It was all misty and like rainy. And then finally I saw this glint in the sky. I said, "There it is. It's the airplane." So we ran out into the runway, threw ourselves on the ground, and waited for that thing to land. It was just a little plane. And then when it landed, we ran to the plane and we demanded, you let us on this plane. And we were able to get out. So that's that was exciting, let me tell you.
I think that was more than exciting. I think that would be scary, like I can't even believe. I mean,
well, rebels are everywhere. So we had to almost hide to get out there and position ourselves and run. But fortunately, our little bitty African hotel was very close to the airport. And so, it made it all possible for us to get out. I don't think we'd have got out otherwise.
Well, I remember last time you were here and we were sitting around the kitchen table and you were saying, well, Stan, why don't you come with me and we can go here and we can go there and we need to go into the Amazon. I said, no, thank you.
You just said, I don't think I'm called to this.
That's right. My anointing lies in another area and I'm glad of it.
Well, in the Amazon, we were riding boats down that river and the tributaries, and every single boat leaks. So you don't know if you're going to sink or not. So you spend most of your time bailing water. But that was nothing compared to what we're going through now, trying to get in and out. I guess it was all just...
We'll be right back after this message. In the Rob Skiba gift offer, his first DVD is Mythology, UFOs, and the Coming Great Deception. Topics are Sumerian, Egyptian, and Greek pantheons, the Coming Great Deception, UFOs and aliens, interdimensional portals, transhumanism, and the quest to be like gods, giants and hybrids. And in Babylon Rising, the topics are the signs in the heavens, Babylon in the last days, New World Order conspiracies, secret societies, and the occult's obsession with the numbers 322, tetrads or blood red moons in the eclipses in the days ahead, the feasts of God and how they relate to the last days, the tribulation survival plan, and 2045, the year man becomes immortal. Topics will be Genesis 6 Nephilim, hybrid humans, war with hybrids, hybrids among us, the injection of immortality, all 3 DVDs valued at $90, available for a gift of just $50 at prophecyclub.com. In Doug Hamp's new DVD, The Injection of the Beast, in the last days, it will be as in the days of Noah. Angels were mixing their seed with humanity, and it's happening again. That's demons and humans having sexual relations, masquerading as aliens, are actually creating Nephilim hybrids for the body of the Antichrist. Then in The Fall Feast and Prophecy, he tells the story of how Jesus fulfilled the first 4 feasts at his first coming and how he will fulfill the next 3 in return on some future Rosh Hashanah. The Day of Atonement pictures the opening of the books and the judgment of those dead and alive. The Feast of Tabernacles pictures us receiving our mansions. Both DVDs valued at $60 for a gift of just $40 or more in the Hamp gift offer. Remember, the Prophecy Club continues because of your prayers and gifts of support, not the distribution of DVDs. And now, back to the program.
So you don't know if you're going to sink or not. So you spend most of your time bailing water. But that was nothing compared to what we're going through now, trying to get in and out. I guess it was all just preparation.
Okay, here's the elephant in the room question, and I think of course you're going to say God, but I want you to give more than that. And here's the question: where in the world do you find the courage, being a woman, being white and blonde, where do you find the courage to go do that?
That's the funny thing. It just doesn't occur to me that I can't do it, because I know God told me to go. It just doesn't enter my mind. Even when I hear the voodoo drums and I know we're being hunted in the night, even when the rebels are surrounding the village we're in and killing people all around us, it just, I just know that I know that the hand of God is on me and my precious team and my son Dylan, and I just know that I know we're going to get out. And so this is why, we would take courage to run to the airport 5 mornings in a row, and on the 5th morning we were able to escape. But it was a miracle.
Well,
because
I
really
know
the rebels were right there,
the Bible.
hoping to catch somebody and shoot them. I mean, it's all they lived to do.
The Bible talks about how we can have the peace that passes all understanding. And when I was doing this rapture debate, several people now, we've had about, 700-800 people now watch the debate, which, by the way, you can watch at prophecyclub.com under the video section. Anyway, and many of them have commented, Stan, how in the world were you so calm when this guy was attacking you personally? And I've told him, I said, I was in that peace that passes all understanding. I had perfect peace. And it was not a problem. I guess that's what you're saying you had. That's what you walked in there, right?
Yeah, see, like it was a surprise to me that this pygmy chief, and there were two different ones, that said, we can't believe that a woman has come to us when nobody else would come and help us. You came. And they were doing things that I had to make them stop doing. They would get these little brushes, and they were trying to brush the earth before me as I was walking, and they were trying to hold my feet and clean my shoes, and I finally said, stop. I'm just a servant. I'm nobody. Amen. I came here to tell you about Jesus, not about myself. And so they finally gave up this weird stuff they were doing, trying to, clean or dust or worship at my feet, or I don't know what. Honestly, I turned to Dylan and I said, what are they doing? He says, I don't know. I said, well, I don't know either. It's too weird. And finally I just stop. So pygmies are very primitive, I mean, they're coming out of trees where they live. And, a guy that lives in a tree that sees kind of a startling thing like me, you don't know what kind of reaction they're going to have. They used to stand around in a circle 10 deep all the way around me, a 360 circumference 10 deep, and just stare at me. And then when I would walk, they would all move with me, staring. And I would get in the car, they'd surround the car 10 deep, stare at me all night long. So I had to sit in the car to get a second apiece. But that's kind of, they don't do that now. Now they want to.
Well, I've got another big question here. What about the glory cloud? Is the glory cloud still following you?
Well, I'm just in the process of getting the pictures. Dylan has some on his camera and so on, and we're going to investigate those pictures. But it looks to me like it's showing up in some of those pictures still, yeah. But I don't have them all yet. So. And
what about the rebels? How harassed by the rebels were you?
Pretty much constantly. I think that somebody, and we don't know who it is letting them know when we're coming, because they move in and try to take the border towns where we come in. We might fly out of there, we might drive out of there, but it's 2 times in a row this has happened, where we've really had difficulty getting into the country.
Have you felt the presence of the Lord protecting you and guiding you?
Yeah, I never had a moment of fear. A couple of members of my team did, but I just told them, just be at peace, the Lord is with us.
I mean, I suppose, I'm like Paul. Remember when Agabus pulled on his girdle and said, look, if you go into Jerusalem, your hands and feet are going to be bound. You'll be turned over to the Jews. Basically, God was saying, are you willing to go all the way to the end for me? And he said, I'm willing to die for the name of Christ. And I guess every one of us, servants, at some point have had to say that if you're going to do anything for the Lord. But nevertheless, I still have to say, I don't think I want to go to the Congo. But if the Lord called me, I'd go,
I mean, if something happens, we know how to raise the dead, so there's nothing to hold me back. I'm just not afraid because I know the Lord is with me. Now, if I had doubts about the Lord being with me, there'd be a reason to be afraid.
There you go. Okay, well, I say that because I think that a lot of folks listening were trying. I can just imagine they're putting themselves in your shoes, saying, "Oh my goodness, you're flying to Africa, to the deepest, darkest parts of the jungle. Lions, tigers, and bears. Lions, tigers.
Yeah.
But when God is with you, then that peace that passes all understanding. And okay, so now, all right, so you get them all set down. You go through the gospel. And what percentage of them are receiving Jesus now?
Well, 100%, but I don't have them sitting down anymore. It just turns out that in that culture, it's a deep, deep insult. And they were just emotionally disturbed by being made to sit. So honestly, we've abandoned that. We have the perimeter rope, and they all stand up. In that culture, if I'm standing, they must stand. If I sit, they must sit. But if they are made to sit and I'm standing, in their view, they are insulting me. And they don't want to insult me. They want to love me. So they all stand up, and we've decided that's the best way because it doesn't interrupt their beliefs and their culture. So they're all standing, but they're held behind a perimeter rope.
Okay,
some of them would like to charge at me and grab me and hug me, but actually that's dangerous because if one goes, they'll all go. So it's like a wave of pygmies, and we've had that happen.
Okay, so
now we have maybe 20 guards that just hold that perimeter rope and keep them back. And they can be kind of sharp with them sometimes because they'll try to get out of the rope and get over. So I can hear my hired scouts just barking at them. No, get back,
Yeah, I think we have maybe a bad connection because I am trying to jump in here and say something and you're not hearing me. But nevertheless, let me continue. Okay, so how is it going with buying the land and getting the little huts built for us? And tell us about the things you're building.
The huts are about $250 each, and we need to build for that many pygmies, 8,500 approximately pygmies. That's not the exact number, but we could say approximately 8,500 divided by 10. So what would that be, 800 and some houses? Is that right? I haven't tried to figure it out.
Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not in the math mode right now either. So, roughly, what have you just spent? What did you not have money for, and what kind of money are you needing to complete your work there, or at least go to the next phase?
Well, for this group of pygmies to get them established, we need around $100,000 because we need to build those houses. And again, I haven't sat down and pen to paper, but we need to put in wells. That's something we need about $100,000 to put wells in all our villages, so that's a separate amount. But I need the money to get them clothes. They need more clothes. They need houses. They need wells, and we need to buy seeds, hoes, more machetes, and trees, and help them with the planting. Then we need to go in and buy animals for them, like goats and chickens and all that, so they can get food.
Now,
They're hungry. They're very hungry.
Let me just dispel one of the myths that many people that are not in the ministry believe. Many people think, oh, well, if God tells you to go do something, He's also going to provide all of the funds to be able to do it. Now, for example, we just had 2 meetings over the last 2 months, and in this last meeting, we lost money at the end of the meeting, and I didn't look at the results from the July meeting, but I'm pretty sure we lost money there. Have you gone, or maybe even this last time, did you break even, or were you able to come back with money, or did you come back in the hole?
We didn't. We went in the hole, and that needs to be restored, but it was because, Stan, things happened that we didn't anticipate, like being held hostage an extra week, having to actually buy all new tickets to fly home, to get out of the Congo and then to fly home. So the cost just increased exponentially. So we ended up needing to replace all of that and just come up to even. And then we need to go back immediately. With pygmies, they'll all go back to the jungle if you don't come back immediately and start building houses. So we need a great deal, as you can see.
Okay, so you need $100,000. So, all right, here we go, folks. You've heard the story. The truth is, God supplies through you. It doesn't just appear in thin air, okay? He supplies through you. And if you want to see these pygmies' lives saved so that they're not eaten, and you want to see their soul turn to Jesus, if you want to get to heaven and turn around and see a sea of little black pygmies and know that to a certain degree, you helped bring them to heaven, then here's what you do. You send your best donation to Prophecy Club and just earmark it for the Pygmies. And we can take PayPal, go onto the website. We can take credit cards over the phone. We still accept checks and cash with 2 credit references. As you've heard, she needs about $100,000 for the next tour. However, you want to tell us how much you went in the hole in the red on this last tour?
Oh, my goodness. I'd be estimating now because I haven't put pen to paper. I've been so worn out and tired from it. It was very stressful, as you can imagine. I think we went about $15,000 in the hole.
Okay.
So to come up to 0, that is break even, that's about what it would be. Then to immediately send my team back in to start building houses, we need around $100,000.
Okay, now, in case you're thinking, oh, well, someone else is hearing the broadcast, someone else will support. I know you do have other supporters, churches and other places. Good grief, you talk and speak every place. But just to let them know, you told me once, is it still true, that Prophecy Club is one of your largest, if not the primary supporters for all of this work in the Congo. Is that correct?
Oh, yes, and I am so grateful for that. So grateful.
So thank you, all you folks that have been giving for the Pygmies, but don't give up. The work is not over. It's not finished. And I believe that God will supply and provide and bless you if you'll just bless those. You know, the whole purpose, the whole bottom line of giving is putting others in front of yourself. That's when you really get the heartstrings of God to move. So again, if you'd like to help, send your best donation, Prophecy Club. Let them know it's for the Pygmies. And we're going to come up with $115,000 along with the help of hopefully many other Christians out there so that we could get those huts built and more Pygmies saved and more souls saved in Jesus' name. Amen. So
Amen.
In closing, what would you like to say for the last 60 seconds?
I would just like to say that becoming part of this vision to rescue the lost, to rescue the dying, to rescue the least of these, you're really entering into God's dream for your life and for those who have never heard. And the rewards are great. The rewards are without measure because the Lord is coming with his reward in his hand. So I just invite you to enter in to this heavenly vision of reaching the lost in the most desperate places on earth, the little pygmies in the Congo.
Bree, thank you for being on. And folks out there, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part. And thank you for your prayers and your gifts of support. God bless.
God wants us to help his side win the battle for souls. The Prophecy Club is on the tip of God's spear. Join the battle and prayerfully consider supporting the Prophecy Club with your gifts of support. We would not be here without your prayers and generous financial support.
Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. There are 30 scriptures in the Bible which say in the last days massive amounts of oil will be discovered in Israel, and we believe we've been given the directive to use this prophesied oil and gas to fund worldwide soul winning. If you have questions about our vision, call 877-OIL-ISRAEL or 877-645-4772. In the Rob Skiba gift offer, his first DVD is Mythology, UFOs, and the Coming Great Deception. Topics are Sumerian, Egyptian, and Greek pantheons, the Coming Great Deception, UFOs and aliens, interdimensional portals, transhumanism, and the quest to be like gods, giants and hybrids. And in Babylon Rising, the topics are the signs in the heavens, Babylon in the last days, New World Order conspiracies, secret societies, and the occult's obsession with the numbers 322, tetrads or blood red moons in the eclipses in the days ahead, the feasts of God and how they relate to the last days, the tribulation survival plan, and 2045, the year man becomes immortal. Topics will be Genesis 6 Nephilim, hybrid humans, war with hybrids, hybrids among us, the injection of immortality. All 3 DVDs valued at $90, available for a gift of just $50 at prophecyclub.com.